What's up, Doug Houdini in the garage. Welcome back to my first Gen Dodge Dakota project. Today, we're going to be tinting these back windows, and if we like the way it looks, I think we'll do a brow in the front. Now, as a lot of you will know, and some of you are about to find out, I'm in no way a professional tinter, but I do have some tips and tricks and techniques for how an amateur such as myself can do a decent job on a simple window like the back window on a pickup truck, or a brow on pretty much any windshield, or some other relatively flat glass window. Now, the first thing you're gonna have to track down is some tint. There are a couple ways to go with this, but I'm here to tell you, you get what you pay for on tint. You can go to Wally World and get that Geely stuff or whatever it is. You're setting yourself up for failure. It's actually harder to apply cheap tint. So what I suggest, make the investment. I bought this roll of 36" by like 200 feet, 35% tint. It was almost $200, but I've done a bunch of my vehicles, a bunch of friends' vehicles. I've actually made a few dollars on some side jobs with it, and it's good tint, so the end result is good and it's much easier to apply. So I am seriously suggesting buy good tint. It's not the last time I'm gonna say it. I'll probably mention it 100 more times in this video. Just like paint, right? Buy good paint, buy good tint. Now, once you have your tint sorted, you're gonna need some tools. And the longer you do tint, the more you do tint, the more tools you will acquire, right? Whole box of them. But as a bare minimum, you're gonna need some kind of measuring device. Strongly suggest one of these small OLFA knives. They have them in the 35 degree and I think the 45 degree. I have both. Now, after the knives, you're gonna need some kind of squeegee and some kind of card. See, I have a couple of each here. Some of these are from Tint. Depot.com. Some of these are from FusionTintTools.com. I highly recommend go and get, as a bare minimum, a big chisel squeegee, one of these little wedge scrapers, and some kind of card that has a bunch of different angles on it. This Tint Depot one would be just fine. This really pointy one is good for doing windows with seals, not something we're going to be up against today. The point is, the more tools you have, the easier it'll be. I got my first few tint jobs done with just a squeegee and a card, and that was it. And it was hard and I wasted a little bit of tint, but I learned a lot of things, you know? So would recommend investing in a couple tools. Don't go crazy, it ain't worth it. Now, just like paint or welding or most things in life, it's 99% preparation and 10% application. Actually, with tint, maybe it's 80% preparation and 20% application. There's a little more applicatory finesse required than, say, painting, but not a ton. If you don't have a paint scraper, get you a paint scraper. You should have one anyway. It's the best way to start cleaning off the window. Now, these windows have something weird going on. Previous owner, I think they like sprayed some kind of white tint film frost thing over the window. And on top of that, they had a bunch of decals on here. So what I'm gonna do to start is I'm gonna take this paint scraper and I'm gonna run the entire window. And hopefully I can scrape off all this white as well. Because if you don't know, tint, you measure it and fit it on the outside, and then you apply it to the inside. So you need both sides clean. Then one of the most important things to tinting is a soap and water solution. You want to get a nice, clean water bottle. Don't fight an uphill battle with particulates in your water mixture there. Get some kind of fragrance-free soap. Baby soap is what they suggest. I had some fragrance-free dish soap, one little squirt in a whole bottle like this. You don't want it shaken up and foaming. It's a slip solution. You'll see later, but what you can do, once you do the whole window dry, you spray it with this lightly soapy water, and you do it again, and that's gonna get the last little bits of particulates and stuff and junk cleaned off the window. And additionally, if you can, clean the sills a bit, because that's where more dirt is gonna come as you are applying your tint. It's gonna get sucked up from in those sills. So if you have really dirty old sills like this one, do yourself a favor, give them a little cleaning. And then once you've done the cleaning with water, I wipe everything down with acetone, including the rubber seals. It's not gonna melt anything, it's not gonna make a mess. It's gonna clean everything, pull any oils and grease and junk like that off. If you don't know, brake clean is just aerosol acetone. That's really all she is. So, and then for the exterior, you can kind of just do it the way you would normally wash your car to start. I'm actually gonna scrub this rubber gasket to make sure that it's not letting off little bits of rubber while I'm trying to do the tint and everything. And that, my friends, is that's more than enough prep for me. All right, next thing we want to do is measure the window at its widest point. Let's call it 60 inches just to be safe. And then let's cut a nice piece of 60-inch tint. I like to use the box to get a somewhat straight edge. Spray the whole window down with your soapy slip solution. Take your tint and layer on there. It'll stick to the wet window. Oh, and line it up with that bottom line there. And I'm gonna try to cut this straight. Maybe we can use this for the brow. Now what you want to do is kind of spray the outside and start working it to the window. You can use a squeegee, just be careful. And I'm telling you, don't overthink it. Once you got her lined up, you want to push into the seal here so that you're cutting as close in to that actual seal as you can. And then just follow the seal down. These OLFA knives are great because they're super sharp and the tint wants to be cut. And so what you can do is kind of cut it in chunks at a time. And we're gonna actually do this in 4 pieces, or 3 pieces rather. So I'll cut this one out. And there we go. Alrighty friends, as soon as you got all those cut individually, it's time to go back inside the truck and we're gonna apply it. That's really all there is to it. It is not a very difficult process if the windows aren't curved and they don't have to be shrunk, which these aren't, and that's not this tutorial. This is just a simple flat glass back window brow type deal. Alrighty friends, so we're inside the truck. Everything's good and clean. I gave her one final wipe down on the inside. Do a real quick spritz and grab our tint from outside. And then I like to separate it. You just put it in between your teeth and slide your teeth kind of like this, back and forth like a cow chewing on cud. Right in the corner, and that should separate the backer sheet from the actual tint. Of course, not doing it right now. Christmas, there we go. This stuff is adhesive. Oh brother, so be kind of careful with her. Fewer fingerprints the better, as you can imagine. Just get her right up on there. Make sure it's sprayed real well though, because if it's not sprayed enough, it's not going to let you move it. Now this is where the card comes in handy, because that's how you tuck those seams in where they need to get tucked. And you're essentially just going to squeegee all the water out of this. Put a towel at the base to catch it. It's a little hard when you're doing a back window like this. Keep at her. Keep spraying it. Keep trying. If it's your very first time, you're gonna waste tint. Hey bud, if it's your very first time, you're gonna waste tint. Just get over it. Just get over it. And we'll slowly keep working water out until we get a nice seal on the edges there. You might actually find that there are some places you need to trim. I got a little bit of an overhang here. That's actually what our problem was. So let's take that piece out. Beautiful. And squeegee this all back in. Now we're locked down. If you don't know, you kind of got to let the adhesive on tint dry for a day or two. So I will try not to mess with these windows too much between now and then. Why don't we do the brow real quick? This is a little bonus fact. Brows are super easy. Anybody can do a brow on any car. And that one you can probably use the cheap Walmart tint for. I don't know. I still like to use the, what do I have, Geo Shield or something? It wasn't overly expensive and it's real good tint. That's the one I put on my Subaru about 3-4 years ago, and it's holding up just 10 out of 10. Anyway, onto the brow. And we're gonna do all the same stuff to clean the area. All right, let's get that clean just like last time. We're gonna spritz her down again, lay it so that the transfer paper or the backing paper is down, and just drag this down on your windshield here. Get her kind of tacked down. Alrighty friends, there are 2 ways to line up your brow here. You can either pick a reference point on the window and line it up, or you can just take a measurement from the top of the gasket down, whichever you prefer. I don't want a huge brow on here, about 6 inches, so it just comes down below my rear view, so when you go to look in the rear view at 4 o'clock, you don't get blasted in the eyes. I'm gonna use this little alignment point here on this side, because that's good. And then as you can see on this side, it's got the same thing, so you just bring it up there. Now it'll take a bit of finagling to get her to lay flat, just a couple little fingers here. You see I got my alignment marks there, and the same on the other side. And all we're gonna do is cut it out. And the beauty of windshield brows is that there's that big border of black that gives you just this huge margin for error. Not that you should be aiming for margin of error, but I mean, it's there if you need it. So again, just push right up against the gasket there. Alrighty friends, can you guess what we got to do next? Well first, let's pull this rear view mirror down. Since our brow is going to go around that guy, it just slides off. And then, as you may have guessed, it's time to clean for a change. No cleaning during this project, right? And as a word of advice, get as close to perfect as you can on the brow, because you're going to stare at it the entire time you're driving from now until the time you sell the car. And when I was learning to do this, I would do a brow on any car I can get my hands on, and I put some pretty terrible brows on. I'll get in a car that I tinted a couple years ago and be like, Jesus, crackers, that is atrocious. Not sure if I showed this on the back window, but final cleaning process should be with a squeegee. That'll just squeegee all that nasty water and dirt right off of there, right out of your area. I like to do a piece. I'll actually spray the back of this to make sure that it's not going to stick too much on me. And we'll place this guy in. And as we do, we can peel and stick the remainder, hopefully without creasing it. We're getting headliner fuzz on it, most of which I've done before. Peel it back, a little more sprayage. Alrighty, once we're sure we have it up enough, flatten the area in the middle as best you can, and very gently, I'm going to cut around the rear view mirror button. And you don't have to be crazy exact because it overlaps, so you're never going to see it if it's a little bit janky. There we go. Spray it and start squeegeeing it out. These brows are easy because they don't curve at all. It's flat glass. So it's literally, as long as you can get the window clean and then squeegee, you got to be pretty challenged to not be able to get a brow done, right? He said as a bunch of fingers popped up. If you need to, use tools like this and like this to work it up into the seals or the headline or whatever there is. This truck is so simple, that's not even something I have to worry about. Like, there is literally nothing else to do here. This is done. It's perfect. All the edges are good, and it does not mess up the aesthetic of the truck from the outside. That's all there is to it. You're gonna want to park her out in the sun, and you're gonna need to not come in contact with that tint for a few days because it does need to dry. If you are new to tinting and you think this video gave you the tools that you need to maybe go give her a shot, leave me a comment. If you are new to tinting and you think this video just answered more or raised more questions than it answered, be more than happy to help you even that stuff down there. I will leave links to some decent tint, as well as the 4 tools you're gonna need. You're absolutely gonna need. You're gonna need a decent squeegee, you need a decent hard card, you're gonna need a decent angled blade like the OLFA, and you're gonna need a decent scraper like a paint scraper. Don't try to do it without those 4 things. Oh, and you're gonna need a spray bottle. So 5 things. I'll leave links to the ones I suggest. Outside of that, by all means, leave me a comment if you are a professional and you think you could help me hone my process. If you're a professional and you just want to tell me I'm a hack, I know. My subs know. Sit down. That's why they're here. Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure they're here because I'm a hack. And that's what they want to see. I don't need you to tell me it sucks, because it doesn't look like it sucks, bud, huh? She looks pretty good. It's good enough for who is fur, and certainly good enough for that truck. Speaking of that truck, gosh. To quote Cody, I get the fizz every time I look at the front of that truck. My goodness. We're doing that truck on this channel, for sure. That's the project right now. Most of the videos that are gonna be coming at you are gonna be Dodge Dakota refurb videos, getting her up to speed to be the perfect daily and the perfect work truck. I did do a video introducing the project. If you'd like to see that, by all means, link up in the corner. Otherwise, if you wanna see more Dodge Dakota, you just gotta subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, like the video. Like I said, leave me that comment down there in the squawk boxes. That's all there is to it, but I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.